Obviously this is an incredible weekend for my family and my friends and everybody who's been there to support me throughout the years to allow this to happen. And the Orioles organization, the Angelos family, the Orioles advocates, so many people to thank. I don't have enough time to thank everyone, but it's to think of the journey from 1999 until now. It went by really fast, and it's kind of surreal when you look back on it all. But I just feel truly blessed to have been here as long as I had the opportunity to be here and have the opportunity to play on so many teams with so many great guys and great friends and great teammates, and then also interact and be impacted by so many people in this community as well.
Brian, what comes to mind when you hear your name in the Orioles Hall of Fame?
Like I said, surreal. It just you don't set out with that sort of goal. I mean, honestly, you set out with the goal of how do I stay here tomorrow when you're in that locker room? What do I need to do that first and foremost? And then as you get a little bit more established, you start your goals and your and the things that you're looking at do change. Obviously, it's not as much about how do I stay here tomorrow, but it's about how do I use the place that I'm in now to help this team, to help this franchise, this organization accomplish what we want to accomplish. I haven't done it yet in a while, and I didn't get to accomplish that necessarily to the full extent. But then also on the outskirts of that, it's certainly how do you use this to impact out there. And so, I think that when I hear my name in that capacity, you think about all those who have gone before you as well, and the names that are beside you, and that's what's kind of blows your mind. No, I didn't. No. It's a nice touch. Thanks.
Brian, you came in just after a couple of playoff appearances for the team, and you sort of were one of the guys that had to be the face of the team for a long time, where there wasn't the payoff at the end of the season. How do you reflect on that? It was a big responsibility.
I actually just had that conversation a minute ago, and it's kind of interesting because to me, I never looked at it that way by any means, because it was very different to me than it is right now, where they say it's pretty obvious, hey, we're going to rebuild. We never really said that much that I remember. I don't know about you guys, but we never came out and said we're rebuilding. So every year we went to spring training, we thought we had a chance to win, or that's what we were trying to do. And I didn't, you certainly don't sit in the locker room and be like, hey, man, are you the face of the franchise, or is it me? Or, I mean, that kind of stuff. It's kind of funny that you guys talk that way, because we certainly don't look at it that way. You're trying to be the best player you can on the field and lead by example and lead by hopefully playing well and that sort of thing. And I did try to take that seriously, sure. I tried to take it as serious on the field as I did, or vice versa, off the field as I did on the field. And because I had guys before me that did that. Early in my career, the Jeff Conines and the Mike Bordicks and Brady Andersons and these guys, and those guys showed me how to do it on the field. Jeff Conine really showed me how to do it off the field in a great way, along with some other guys. But so I didn't look at it the way that you state it, maybe, but I did know there was a responsibility there, of course.
Brian, did you feel like, because of the accident time, that you really missed out on something?
I played 13 years in the big leagues. I didn't miss out on anything. There's a lot of guys that would have dreamed, millions of kids that would dream to play 13 years in the big leagues. If they said, hey, you're not going to play in a playoff game, I bet they wouldn't choose to go do something else, So I understand what you're saying totally, but I don't look at it that way. Even if I had never, I did see to an extent the culmination. I got to walk on the field for a playoff game. I couldn't play, unfortunately, but I got to see what it meant to this city. I had chills. I had goosebumps because I had never seen this place like that, and I'd been here a long time. So I don't feel like I missed out. Sure, I would have loved to ride in a cool old car down Pratt Street, but to feel like I missed out, absolutely not.
Talk a little bit about, Fred, they mentioned of it, but other than the fact that
Jax, what have I been up to, buddy? A lot of 5-year-old and 2-year-old. I do a lot. I mean, I do get the opportunity. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to do a lot at home, and be with my kids a lot, which is awesome. Have had the opportunity to do some stuff with the Orioles, which is good, and some stuff that we're continuing to work on together in collaboration that hopefully we'll talk about more eventually. And then, we try to carry over what we did in Baltimore, in Sarasota, where we live, which is certainly our spring training home with the Orioles, and we try to impact kids there in a positive way. We work with numerous organizations around the community with that, and some other stuff. So really not a whole lot different. My life is very similar, except I don't go to the field from 2 to 11.
Will we see you in spring training in the future as in some capacity?
You are asking the wrong person.
Well, you said you've been talking about it.
I will plead the fifth today. I do not have anything formal in place to go to spring training, no. But I mean, yes, we have been talking about some stuff, and we're continuing to talk about things, and I want to be a part of the organization, and I think they want me to be a part of the organization. So yeah, we're working on some things that will hopefully benefit everyone, hopefully.
Brian, what do you think about the new direction? I mean, you've been obviously around for
Sure.
the last couple of years.
Yeah. I think it's hard for everybody to see, us have to go in that direction again. Nobody wants to do that, That's never the goal or the mindset of any team to have to do that. But, when you think about when Dan and Buck came in 2010 and where we were as an organization and that 4-year run kind of really turning this thing around and playing meaningful games and being in the hunt and being in the playoffs, you want that to continue. But baseball is cyclical. I mean, it is in general. And everybody has seen the way that organizations are now building franchises, and at some point you either have to get on board and do it that way kind of, or you're going to get left behind. And so it's just that time for the Orioles, unfortunately. And I hope the fan base will continue to embrace it, because it could be great, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, who knows? They could be on one of those Chicago Cub type runs, and you look like you're going to compete for 10 more years, and that's what everybody wants in the end, of course. I mean, the one thing you don't like to see is, I was hoping Jonathan Scope was going to be here and, break every number I had at second base. I was hoping that we'd see Manny play here for 15 or 20 years, but the business of the game makes it tough nowadays, and I know it doesn't. You hear fans talk about it so passionately that it bothers them, because they almost don't like to get attached to players anymore, and that's the difficult part. And that's why I was so blessed to have been here for that long, because I made relationships that and I wish every player had the opportunity to do that. It's just not that way with the business of the game.
What is in your mind, the link between the fans and the team? How strong is it? Because, as you said, you got to see it briefly in the playoffs. You got to see when the team lost a lot, but still had support.
What is the link between the players and the fans and stuff? Look, this is a great sports town. We all know that. The way I always say it is, I don't blame anybody for not spending their hard-earned money to come watch us lose. I mean, I don't. I was making the money. I wasn't the one spending the money to come do it. And so I think the fan base and the city of Baltimore is the same as it's always been. They love Oriole baseball. It may not show necessarily in the seats at times, because it's all about product in general, usually, and people work hard for their money, and they want to spend it where it's going to be something that they really enjoy. And I think the Orioles are doing a great job with trying to continue to give that avenue, like the kids program where you can bring your kid for free under 9. I mean, I think it's brilliant. We want young people to be able to come to the games and those sorts of things. But the fan base is there. Watch in 3 years and 4 years and 2 years, when this team's in the playoffs again, the place will be rocking with orange towels again, and that's the way it should be. You'd love for there to be 50,000 people in the stands when you're losing 100 games, but it's not realistic, Oh man. Yeah, I got a lot more background on his story today, which was super cool. Which that was maybe the highlight of my day to hear his journey to how he got here. And because what your journey takes. Every guy that I see out there, just about, I know to an extent what their journey's been like. Now being in the broadcast booth, I'm jaded. I didn't have to do all that stuff to walk in a broadcast booth, like they said about Mike Bordick. Those guys, man, they cut their teeth just like we did to get to where we were. And his voice is synonymous to Orioles for me because he was here every day that I was here. And so it's an honor to go in with him, having heard him call every game that I ever played, pretty much. It's very nice to see that. I love seeing his family dynamic. I love seeing his wife of 50 years that supported him and been there, and just a really neat atmosphere to be in with him today.